So welcome, Kaitlin. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yes. Okay. So I live in Houston, Texas. My husband's name is Oakley. We have a 1.5-year-old daughter named Eleanor. I am extremely pregnant, and she's going to be a big sister in a couple months to a little baby boy. And I would feel so ashamed if I did not mention our golden doodle guppy, who was like really truly our firstborn. So yeah, so that's a little bit about the personal side. I always feel weird when this question is asked, so I try to like throw in some fun things. So a few random things that I totally love: coffee, which judge me or don't, I have not given up this pregnancy. um Pump up music all the time, staying active, um sitting by a lake, and just spending time with my family. And then, so I guess like more professionally, so my business, Think Happy, the mission of Think Happy is to really just help busy women create sustainable habits and routines that, first off, reduce their daily stress by creating systems and control. Second, decrease their wasted and unproductive time throughout the day. And then third, increase the amount of time that they have to refill their own cup, which kind of goes hand in hand a lot with um, self-love and the conversation we're going to be having today.
Yeah.
And yeah,
So
that's me.
I'm so excited. Like, I think that this is a message that we all need. So I'm super excited for us to dive in. When we were chatting before, when we were meeting up on email, I was like, oh
Yes.
my word, this and this, please. Like, I think I need to hear it just as much as everyone else needs to hear it. So I'm like, yes, this really interests me, please. So I'm
Yes.
super excited
Yes.
about that. And we just want to mention our like communal friend Mel Matthew, who we were chatting the other
Such a
day.
small world.
Oh my gosh. And we were chatting the other day, and Kaitlin was like, do you know that there's a South African girl that I've been connected to for about 6 months, which is longer than we've known each other. We've only known
Yeah.
for about 2 months we've been chatting.
Yeah.
And she was like, yeah. And I was chatting to her in my DMs, and I told her I was chatting to a South African girl and she having her on the podcast. And then she was like, what did she say? She said, is it
She
Jane?
goes, by any chance, is it Jane? And I was like, whoa, yeah, it is Jane. And I almost quote directly, Jane is a legend. A legend. I know. I know. And she was like, I've been to some of her retreats before. And so, promptly I typed a little email up to Jane, because who doesn't want to hear that about
Yeah.
themselves? Like, we work so hard on these, podcasts and our businesses, that it's so nice to hear when other people think that about us. It's just a
Yeah.
little bit of like, okay, this is why I'm doing this. Like,
Yes.
this is why, yeah.
It literally made my week. And I was like, oh my gosh, who said that about me? That's amazing. And you were like, her name is Mel Matthew. I was like, oh, of course it is. Mel, of course it is. It's just like
We love you, Mel.
yeah, we love you. She's so sweet. She's the most supportive person ever. And yeah, she's just incredible. So it really did make my day, my week, my month. Also, because I think when you're in this business, you don't get a lot of feedback.
Yeah.
I hardly get feedback from anyone. I
Yeah.
love feedback, and it just,
Same.
if it's constructive criticism, I don't mind it. I like to learn and grow. But just getting feedback on how we've made you feel, how you've had an epiphany, like how you've had these changes in your life, it honestly, like, it makes us so happy.
Yes. I'm so glad you said that, because I feel like it's one of those things where everyone assumes that other people are giving feedback. And so I find myself so frequently on my own podcast saying, when I say DM me, like, no, please, really actually DM me. Like, there's nothing I would love more. Please.
We're being honest. Please DM us. Please
Yes.
share. Like, if you're enjoying this conversation, like when we say that on our podcast, like, please screenshot this podcast, share it to your stories, and tag us. Like, we want to actually know who's listening, because we can't see. And when you do that and we can actually see, it's so nice for us to see who's actually listening in that moment.
Oh yeah, and when you get that like tagged notification on your Instagram, it's like we literally get so excited. We're like, "Oh, oh yeah, yes, awesome."
I wish people, yeah. So at least we're telling people now, I suppose. Tell all your friends. We like feedback and we like to know that you're listening to the podcast. Like it really like makes our day. Yay. So
Exactly.
thank you to all the
100%.
supportive people, especially Mel Matthew.
Yes, we love you, Mel.
So going straight into it, what does self-love mean to you?
Oh, yes. Okay, so self-love, I think one thing that we've talked about a lot, Jane, is just how the messages of our two communities are so aligned, right? And so the way that we talk about self-love in the Think Happy community is by saying, like keeping your own cup filled, so that, you're not running on empty or running on dry. And I think that women especially have a tendency to give, go, go, go until they have just run themselves completely dry. And I actually so I'm like always giving analogies, you know, if you don't like analogies, don't listen to my podcast. But this new analogy that I came up with for this is with your phone, we're on it all day long, using it, scrolling, buying things, checking the weather, checking the traffic, always on our phones. But so like slowly the battery is like going down and down and down. And if you've noticed, if you let your phone battery get to zero and it dies, and then you plug it back in, it takes a couple minutes for the phone to come back to life and be able to use it again.
Mm.
But if you don't let it get to zero, if you don't let the phone battery die, and if you charge it continuously throughout the day, you don't run into that problem. And so I think that we're very similar, where if we're continuously refueling, recharging, we don't have to get to that point where we get to zero. And then it takes us a little bit of time to like get back up and running again. We can just really sustain it a lot longer. And so when I came up with that analogy, I was like, yeah, that's a good one.
I'm going to quote you. I'm going to quote you on that because it's so true. It's almost like when you have to reboot, you almost have to reboot your phone again, and it takes so long, and you're like, hurry up, can you, But if you
Yeah.
actually just top it up, you basically just need a power bank. If you had a power bank,
Yes.
so taking mom breaks and little self-love breaks is like a little power bank that just powers you up, and then you don't go to empty.
It's so true. It's so true. And the thing is that getting to empty or 0% or whichever of the analogies you want to use, getting to that empty looks differently for all of us.
Yeah.
So I think it takes a decent amount of self-awareness. So for me personally, when I get to empty, it looks like all of a sudden, and it really feels like all of a sudden, I feel insanely overwhelmed just with the amount of things that I have going on and life in general. I get like very snippy, I'm stressed, I'm anxious, and I feel like literally at any moment I could just like explode on if someone says like slightly the wrong thing, I could just, you know, totally explode on them. And so I think starting to become aware of what your empty looks like, it can help you start becoming mindful of the warning signs,
Mm.
right? So that when you start noticing those warning signs, you can dip into that self-love bank, like you were saying. And so, I mean, I'll use myself as an example again. I know that my warning signs are when I start feeling like I just don't have enough time to get the things done. And when I start pulling back and stop asking for help
Mm.
and like get in this frame of mind where it's like, I'm the only one who can do XYZ, name it. Like, I'm the only one that can do it. Excuse me. So when those warning signs start presenting themselves, that's a big cue to like, okay, I need to slow down. I need to refill. I need to dip into that self love bank and not let me totally get to empty or to zero.
And I do feel like women, I would love to know the stats, but I do feel like women get burnout more than men.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
They'll be
I
like, no,
totally agree.
I'm going away with my friends for the weekend, or I'm going to go play golf, or I'm going to do this. And we're like, I can't go away. What do you mean? There's too much to do. Like, I have to be here for you and you and you. And that's why I was like,
Yeah.
no, every 3 months, because I do so many retreats for other people. Today is the day that I've, like, last night I was finished. I had my retreat this weekend,
Mm-hmm.
and I always call it, I have a retreat hangover the next day. Like today, I've just been like, my brain is still in the Midlands, and energetically, I'm so, like, I get so drained. I mean, last night, and this happens every time, I had a migraine. Luckily Peyton went to sleep before 8:30, which was a miracle for her. And
Oh, amazing.
I wanted to get into bed with 2 Panados and my Kindle. I couldn't even read. I literally just got into bed. I went to bed at 8:30, which for me is like,
Oh my
what?
gosh.
And I
Yeah.
was like, oh, I feel so good today, but I'm still like, like energy wise, like cloudy. But
Yeah.
so because I do this for everyone, I now go every 2 or probably every 3 months. I take myself. I spoke on your podcast about this. Like, I
Mm-hmm.
take like a solo night retreat away, and I have to, because if I don't make the time for myself just to feel like me and not a we, like, I just need to feel like me again. Sometimes that's all you
Yeah.
need a day to feel like, oh, I have no responsibilities. I am just a me. This is so nice. I remember the days
Yes.
when I was just a me, carefree me. And, like, oh, this is so nice. I don't have to do anything, don't have to be anywhere. It's just me planning, me going out to a coffee shop. It's just, yeah, you need that every so often to be able to do it. Whereas I think guys just do it all the time. They don't even think about it. They don't even have guilt about it, but we do.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's so funny because I think a lot of the guilt that we feel is totally self-induced. Like, there's no one making us feel guilty for doing that. It's just the story that we have in our head. Um, but one thing that you just said that you had mentioned on when we were recording for my show was being a me, not a we. And
Mm.
I love that phrase.
Mm.
I just really love that phrase.
Yeah, because it's like, even if you are single, but you have like your family, or you're living with your family, or you do everything with your family, even if you don't have kids, even if you're working in a company, you are always going to be on a team, or, you never kind of
Hmm.
like the solopreneur where you are by yourself, myself and I. So you're always going to feel like you are a we in some way or another, especially if
Yeah.
you're a mom and a wife, or a wife and a wife, or whatever. Like, you're always going to feel like you are part of like this team that you can't have a break from. So
Yeah.
you need to choose
Yeah.
to take a break.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
love that. So especially with your pregnancy journey, so tell us, what has your self-love journey looked like?
Oh gosh. And sorry, I have this like tickle in my throat this morning. I don't know. My daughter has a runny nose, so I'm
Oh,
like,
tis
it's
the
some sort
season.
of allergies. Yeah. Yeah. So sorry for the throat clearing. But I would love to sit here and tell you that my journey has just been a totally smooth path, but that would be a humongous lie. It has definitely had its ups and downs. And one thing that I've learned and that I like to talk about a lot is I have found it to be helpful to keep in mind that a season of, being in a difficult, stressful time is just that. It's a season.
Mm.
And just like the seasons outside, they come and they go. And there is something about keeping that in mind, that like when I feel like I'm in the thick of a really stressful season, it just it gives me peace knowing like this is not how it is for forever. This is just one season and it's going to come and go. So right now, I am in the midst of a pretty stressful season. And so I'm finding myself almost forcing myself to be extra cognizant of staying on top of my own personal self love. So, like you had mentioned, I'm pregnant. Um, After this baby is born, I'm leaving my 9 to 5 and I'll be doing my business thing, Cappy, full time. So, like, that's exciting, but it's stressful. And I'm like, oh my gosh, can I do this? Um, our house is under construction, and it's just like all of these little things. Our nanny left us like at the last minute, and so I was like really, really struggling to try to find childcare because I don't know, I have to work. um but so in those stressful seasons, at a minimum, I feel like so one thing that I always lean into is just my gratitude journal.
Mm.
When things are extra tough. But in other less stressful seasons, I actually think that I have a pretty nice self-love routine. Um, and I don't find it difficult to just kind of like fall back into that routine once, a stressful season is over. So for that, I have a little morning routine that I love doing. I'm an early bird. So, waking up before the rest of the house is awake, having a quiet cup of coffee, reading a devotional, writing in my journal, all things like that are part of my morning routine that I love. And just in general, carving out time for myself,
Mm.
um, just me time, if you will. So, self-love journey has not always been a smooth path, but it is. I do have like a good routine that I feel like I always fall back into
Mm.
when life settles down. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, but that probably also runs into what self-love practices do you do each day? So you definitely do you definitely do your gratitude? I try to do the gratitude journal every day. I've
Yes.
skipped like maybe 2 weeks since mid-Jan, but
Yeah.
I do that like every morning. Same. It just helps
Yeah.
you to ground. I think it also helps you to ground yourself for the day as well.
It really does. And I do mine at nighttime. So it's the last thing I do before I, like crawl into bed. I keep mine on my nightstand next to me.
Mm.
Um, so it's like I wash my face, brush my teeth, and then when I'm getting into bed, I'll sit at the side of my bed and I'll pull it out. And for me, in my gratitude journal, I just write 3 things from that day that I'm grateful for. Sometimes it's like very like extravagantly thought out things, like this very specific moment.
Mm.
Sometimes it's just like these comfy pajamas.
Yeah.
I'm really thankful for these right now
Yeah.
because I'm exhausted. And, like my bed. So
Mhm.
thankful for my bed. So it ranges.
Same.
But yeah, I'm pretty consistent with that. Every every so often there'll be a couple days here and there that I miss it.
Mhm.
Like, oh my gosh. One time my daughter took the pen that I used to write in it, and I had no idea where it was. And during the day, I never thought to get a different pen and put it there. So every night I would be like, oh, where's my pen? And I just never got up to go get it.
You're like, I'm already here. Like, no. And then
I'm
you forget.
already
And then
here.
I'm here. No, I'm tired.
Yeah. Yeah. So I feel like, yeah, the self-love practices I do each day, definitely the gratitude journal. And I'm really working on just being graceful with myself,
Mm.
giving myself as much grace as
Mm.
I can, I think, because I think that grace is one of those things where it's much easier for us to be graceful with other people and much harder for us to give ourselves that same grace in return.
And we tell people to give themselves grace, but we don't do it for ourselves. We're like, you need to give
Yeah.
yourself grace. You're going through a tough time. And then when we go through it, we're like, what is wrong with me?
What's wrong with, yeah, why can't I do this? Why can't I do it all? Why can't, like, yeah. Why am I not the Energizer Bunny?
Exactly. Okay, now I'm excited for these little tips and tricks. So you are so good with life organization, and we definitely need some of that. So how does organizing your life equate to self-love?
Oh, I just love this question so much. Um, so I believe that having organization just woven through your life fosters an environment where it's easier to create or find time for self-love.
Mm.
So what I mean by that is if you're going through your days, going through your weeks with at least a general sense of organization in your life, that's a great starting point or a great foundation to identifying daily or weekly time to set aside for self-love.
Mm.
Um, so yeah, I think that having life organization is just really a great foundation to have when it comes to creating that time to refill our own cups.
Yeah, and then we can't make excuses because we've got the time.
Exactly. There you
Uh,
go.
you see? So my clients often say they don't have the time. So how can we identify and regain wasted time? And then how do we reallocate that time back to ourselves to feel better about ourselves?
Yes, yes. Okay, so feeling like we don't have the time, I think is probably like top 5 things that women say or feel
Mm.
is just that we don't have the time, right? And it always makes me think of that gif of Beyonce, and she's just like on stage looking fabulous, and the text is, "We all have the same hours in a day as Beyonce." And it's like, "Oh,
Mm.
yeah, we do." Like, dang, get it, girl. Um, so to identify the time that you're wasting or that you're not using productively is really a great way to it's kind of like a loophole, right? So like it's kind of a way to add time back into your day. Um and so making sure that you're using your time optimally and to the in the best way possible, right? So, um, I teach 3 steps on how to identify your wasted time. I'll go through them really quickly here. The first is just identify your distractions or identify the things that pull you away from productivity. The second is a self audit, and the third is adding it up. So, step 1 is the step is what it is.
We all
Identify the things.
social media.
Yes, right? Yes, my cell phone. Um, um, but I always suggest that you physically write down this list of distractions.
Mm.
Um, step 2 is the self audit, which like sounds way fancier than it is. It's not fancy. So to do this, you already have your sheet of paper with your distractions written on it. Next to each distraction, write an estimate of how much time per week you spend on that distraction. It is mind-boggling,
Yeah.
especially uh, I like hate and love doing this, especially if you pull out your phone and you look to see like how much time like you spend with your phone screen turned on, how many times you pick up your phone each day, how many like it is mind-boggling. Um, so let's say just for the sake of this example that you have just 3 primary distractions. You could have 3, you could have 30, you could have 300, doesn't matter. And those distractions are scrolling Pinterest, watching reruns of The Office. Do you guys have The Office?
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay, good. I was like, I hope that's a show that's everywhere. And online shopping maybe is your third distraction. So once you write those 3 things down, you'll write down about how much time per week you spend on each of those. So let's say you
Mm.
spend about 10 hours per week scrolling Pinterest, right? So that would be like 1 hour each day plus maybe 2 hours on the weekend. It's about 10 hours a week. And then let's say each week you spend about 15 hours watching The Office. That would only be 3 episodes 5 days a week.
Mm.
So like not that many, but it all adds up. And then let's say you use 5 hours of online shopping per week. So that would be your self audit. Um, writing your distractions and then writing down about how much time per week you spend doing those. Now, step 3 is adding up the time you're going to use everything that you just learned from the self audit. You're going to add up all those numbers. Okay. This is really the fun part or the terrible part, depending on how you look at it. And so you're going to add up all the time, right? And so for the example I just gave with Pinterest, The Office, and online shopping, if you add up that 10, 15, and 5 hours, that's 30 hours per week of essentially wasted time.
Mm,
And that is the time that you have, that's kind of like the low hanging fruit
mm,
time that you have available to regain,
yeah.
and the opportunity to give yourself back some of that time, right? In the form of self-love, or in the form of being able to work more efficiently through your to-do list, whatever it might be. Um, so that's identifying wasted time, and that's how you figure out if you feel like you don't have enough time in your day
Mm,
to give some of that time to you. I would highly encourage you
mm.
do that activity because it is eye-opening.
I have so many people that'll be like, "Oh, you're so lucky that you journal every day. I don't have time." I'm like, I wake up. I only have to wake up for my 6 a.m. class at 20 past 5. I get up
Mhm.
at 5:10 just so that I can journal. So don't tell me that I'm lucky.
Yeah.
It's like it's a literally it's a conscious decision that I make. I could
Mhm.
sleep for 10 minutes or I can feel better for the whole day by doing this. So it's all about prioritizing. And also what we're saying, just for everyone who's listening, maybe you don't actually need to find time, and the things that you do in your 3 episodes and are fine. This is more
Mhm.
for the people that are like, I don't have time, but you're still
Mhm.
doing those things. So I was thinking, oh, it must be nice when you don't have to look for time because you're like, oh, I've done everything I need to do in the day. Like, who are you? If you are that person, we want to know. Okay. We
Yes.
want to know, are you a person
Tell
that
us.
can
Tell
still,
us your secrets.
yeah, do you do self-love practices and time into yourself and yoga or gym or whatever and work and enough time for everything, and you read and you watch a series? Like, we'd love to know because you are
Yeah.
a unicorn.
Yes, exactly. And the thing with that exercise is, so like we'll go back. So what we added up was 30 hours.
Mm,
Start with baby steps. Still keep some of that 30 hours for doing those things if you really do love doing it. Maybe your goal is to cut back on 5 of those 30 hours of unproductive time, like start small, start with baby steps. That's the best way to build a solid foundation. What they say, Rome wasn't built in a day, is so true. And if it had been, it would have crumbled by now. So you need that strong foundation too, so that it doesn't crumble. And I think that taking, mini steps, baby steps is a great way to lay a solid foundation for true habit change.
yeah. And I also find that I would always put my work first and not put myself first. But I think we chatted about this the other day, where the days when I actually put in my diary, drop pay at play school, and then I'm going to walk on the treadmill for 20 minutes, whatever, even if it's just 20 minutes.
Mhm.
And then I said, okay, 20 minutes walking on the treadmill and stretch. And then I was going to do a guided journal, or like a journal prompt and a guided meditation. So 5 minutes, 5 minutes. So it was only 30
Mhm.
minutes, then work. I still got everything done after
Yeah,
that I needed to do. And I've heard it before
it's
where people have said
amazing.
it's almost like time stretches when you put yourself first and
Yeah.
then you do the work. And it's true. I got everything done that was on my list. Whereas before, if I didn't do that and I would just go straight into work, I would just keep doing work from like tomorrow to be like, oh well,
Mhm.
I've done this, I might as well do this now. Instead of saying I've done this, I should go get on the treadmill, go walk or
Yeah.
go do whatever. I would just add more work onto my plate. So
Mhm.
it's still going to be there. And because in human design, I'm a manifesting generator, so we just go, 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 go,
Mhm.
go, do lots of different things. My friend said to me, she did my reading for me like 4 years ago. She said, you are always going to keep adding things to your to-do list. So you need to just, if you want to go watch Netflix, go and watch it, because the work is going to be there tomorrow, and you always going to keep trying to do to like
Yes.
tomorrow stuff today. So she was like, just go and do Netflix if you want to do it, because otherwise you're just going to be keep work, because that's what we do is we just work. So I was like, okay, well, that
It's so
helps.
true.
Yeah.
It's so true. My husband always says to me, work, 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 work. And I bet you're similar in this. Like, I truly love working, right? And so sometimes it doesn't feel like I am working. So it's easy for me to trick myself into saying, oh, well, I'm working, but I'm enjoying what I'm doing. And convince myself that like I don't need to take a break or I don't need to take a step back when it's like no. That you're still working. You're still working.
Stop.
I'm pulling up right now I'm pulling up my human design reading.
Ooh.
Because I can't.
You had it on your
remember.
podcast. I started listening the other
I
day.
did.
Yeah,
I'm a projector.
Ooh, you're here to teach. Yeah.
Let me teach you a thing or two about creating time for yourself.
Yeah, exactly. You were here to teach. That's amazing. My husband's a projector and one of my best friends, and her and I actually meet on a Wednesday, which when we decided to do it, it started giving me anxiety because I was like, this is like 2 or 3 hours where I should be at home working by myself. But what we do is she's a projector and then I'm manifesting generator. So you need us and our sacral energy to light you up. Also, projectors, so interesting because I had a reading with my friend who's a manifesting generator, and then I had another reading a little while ago with someone new who's a projector. And she was saying, as a projector, you so like I will push my social media and because you need us to shine a light on you, it's so good to have manifesting generators and people promoting you, and word of mouth for you is like gold. Like people, word of mouth, people talking about you, people sharing you. It's less tiring for you as a projector than you having to push. So it's quite interesting as well.
Yeah.
So
and
everyone
like
go follow her on Instagram.
Please, guys, light up that projector in me.
But it's so interesting. You are living your human design because you are teaching people. That is incredible.
Oh, thanks.
And leaving your job as well, because I feel like
Lordy.
Energy wise, also with you guys, like which so now I know for him and for her, you shouldn't do like endurance for you. You need to do like short things and have breaks. So like he was trying to do a cycle race, like 100 kilometers or something stupid. And it actually affects your immunity. So it's better for you exercise wise to do like short things, not not marathons and things like that.
Right. And I'm working on that. I was actually so glad to learn that about myself, because in a way, it kind of gave me permission to slow down a little bit, if that makes sense. Being like, oh, well, it's part of my human design. So
like I should go for a walk. I shouldn't try go for a run. And like doing these like slow things and short. Okay, I want to just do a 5K. I don't want to try and do a 21K. Like things like that. It gives you permission to I'm living my design now. I can't do that. Sorry, I'm not going to do that 10K with you. No.
Yes.
I'll do 5, but you carry on.
Yeah, you do the full 10. Yeah. That's fine. Okay, so a 5K I think is 3.1 miles.
I think so.
And then a 10K is 6.2. A 21K. Let me see.
Do we everyone's gonna laugh at us. I'm like, do we times or divide?
I have no idea.
Fahrenheit, we divide.
Oh, my daughter just walked in.
Hi,
little girl.
Come say hi. We want to see you.
Hi, mommy's on a call. Yeah. I love you. Oh my gosh, Jane, I'm sorry.
No, come. Bring in, come. We want to see you.
Here, come say hi to everybody.
Wow.
Say hi.
Hi.
Say hi, I'm Ellie. Hi. I'm about to be a big sister. I got a runny nose.
Oh, so does Pay. You're so cute. Hi.
There you go. She's like, ooh, this looks awesome.
She's like, what is going on here?
Okay, I love you. Hi. Oh, she's saying hi. Hi. Hi, you can go play with Emma. Oh, she's waving. She loves you guys. She needs to come to South Africa.
Yeah, come see the big animal.
Yes. She's waving again. Okay, little girl, go see Miss Emma. Yeah, that's mommy's coffee. I'm sorry.
See, guys, real mom laugh. This is how we live.
Yes, this is the real stuff.
Yeah. And you still made time for it. You see, she was
Exactly.
time. I love
exactly.
I love it. So cute. So speaking of that and getting it all in, what is task prioritization and how do we know what to prioritize?
I can't stop smiling when I hear this phrase. It is right now, it's one of my favorite things to talk about. I don't know why, but it just is. So, task prioritization is just when you take all of your to-dos and figure out how you're going to optimally get through them. So, I didn't want to forget to tell your listeners that I have a free mini series that's only live this week, but I will honor it for them for like the week that this episode airs.
Okay.
And so the free mini series is on time and task management. And so like task prioritization falls into that category. So if you guys want a copy of the free series, just send me a DM on Instagram and I will absolutely send it to you. The good thing about that is like you guys don't have to remember a URL or anything. Just send me a DM and I'll send it to you guys.
Yeah.
So prioritizing tasks it's literally something I do every single day, even on the weekends. So three, I guess, like tips or suggestions that I have when it comes to prioritizing your tasks is first, it is helpful to start with a to-do list, right? So like having your actual list. And pro tip, make your to-do list before you're ready to start tackling it. So I'll try to, there's 3 times in the day that I try to make my to-do list for the next day. Either at the very end of my work day. So like, let's say I'm making my to-do list for a Tuesday. I'll try to do it at the very end of my Monday work day. If I don't get it done then, I'll try to do it Monday evening after my daughter's gone to bed. And then if I still don't get it done then, I'll do it Tuesday morning when I'm up early with my coffee before anyone else is awake, and before I'm actually officially like clocking in. And so, yeah, first tip, helpful to start with a to-do list. Second tip is starring your top 3 priorities for the day. So ask yourself, if you're unable to get anything else done today, if all hell breaks loose and life throws you all of the lemons, what are 3 things from that to-do list that you'll be pleased with accomplishing if you get nothing else on your list done? Put a star next to those, highlight those. If you like stickers, put stickers next to those, just identify those top 3. And then my third tip for task prioritizing is using or batching your tasks in either groups of 3 or 5. I personally prefer groups of 3. And so this is different than the priorities. This is the actual order of things that you're going to be doing things. So once you get through, so you have your to-do list, you figure out the first 3 things that you're going to do. Once you get through those 3 things, do it again. Number 1, 2, 3 again. Get through those things and so on and so on. And what I really like about that strategy is it helps you when you inevitably get pulled away from what you're doing. It helps you when you come back to your tasks at hand. It helps you remember exactly where you were. It helps you know exactly what you're going to do next. And it just helps keep the momentum going between your tasks if you're really trying to like knock things out as efficiently as possible. So that's that.
I love that.
I clearly love it.
No, I love that you said that. I don't have one on my desk yet. I'll maybe grab it. But so I create my own products as well. And I made a to-do list. Someone asked me for a to-do list. And I always listen, like as a manifesting generator, you have to like be sent these like ideas and like hear them and receive them. And someone asked me that, I was like, So I made one, and I exactly like that, because I get so overwhelmed when it's just a list, because I just tend to keep adding. So I did
Yes.
the top 3 priorities. Like I made it like an absolute priorities for the day, but I also did 3 for home, 3 for personal, and 3 for work. So you
Ooh.
yeah. So I'll send you the image after this when we chat.
Yes,
Um,
please
so
do.
you actually have to prioritize yourself as well, which I think is also quite cool. But the 3, it's so funny you said 3.
Yeah.
So 3, 3, 3, because I think that we just overwhelm ourselves. And I don't know if you're the same, but sometimes I have something that's not on my list, and then I do it because it's like I forgot about it, and then I tick it off. And it's just that dopamine hit of like writing it down after I've done it to tick it off. Like, why do we do
Yes, I do the same thing. And I think if someone listening says that they don't do it, there's a chance they're not being honest.
Yeah, I think you're lying to yourself. Because you're like, oh, that's what I need to do today. Because someone else will remind you, and then so you put it in your diary, even though you've done it, just to tick it off. And I'm like,
Yep.
why don't you? Why?
Yep.
No one is coming to look.
So true.
Oh no, but yes, I'm so gonna do that task prioritization. I need to, live my truth that I tell people to do. And then I also definitely want to do that audit. I know my social media it's so hard I think the social media is really hard when you work for yourself and you have a business
Mhm.
account, because you have to be engaging and you have to actually post. But at the same time, to be honest with myself, we don't have to be on that much. We can post, engage, and leave. Like I've
Yeah.
set, but on iPhone, you can, I'm sure you can do it on everything, but you can set like take a break. So I've set that reminder to take a break after 10 minutes, and it really does come along quickly on Instagram.
Oh,
I'm like, stop
nice.
watching everyone's stories, like get off. And I've set
Yes.
an hour a day for Instagram. Sometimes I go over and I'm like, yes, okay, and I click it. But
Yeah.
I mean, the fact that I'm on an hour a day, and I know I do it every so often, but I think it's more of also like a check-in. Like you don't realize how much you are doing. I go Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, emails. I got 2 different emails, well, a few different email apps, email, WhatsApp. Like and then like you just keep doing it. So you'll be doing
Mhm.
something, and then you see notifications and you pick it up. And because you've picked it up for WhatsApp, then you end up going,
You
it
go through the
might do
whole
the same
cycle.
thing. And you don't even realize you're doing it. That's the scary thing. And TikTok for
Yeah.
me isn't, because it's not on my front page of my little, folders on my phone. So I don't see it as often. I'll only go on every few days because I forget, even though I'm trying to actually be cool and actually grow on there. But,
Yeah.
I forget about it because I can't see it. But I always do those main ones. So I should actually move my social media folder to my second page, maybe.
That's a really good idea.
Hmm.
Something else that I started doing, I'll do my business Instagram stuff actually on my computer instead of on my phone. And so it like feels like I'm working. So I'll answer DMs on my business account on my computer. Um, and like I'll engage with other people actually on my computer. And that separation has helped because
Yeah.
I feel like I don't get sucked in. There's something about the like scroll,
Yeah.
scroll, scroll, scroll,
Mm.
scroll that is so addictive.
Yeah. And they've
So
done that on
addictive.
purpose to make us spend more time on there so people can pay for advertising, because we are buying
Mhm.
things and seeing. Okay, I'm going to do that.
Exactly.
Yes. Yay. So tell us about your Think Happy community. I just love the
Oh,
name, and I just love it, just makes you like smile, and it makes you
oh, thank you. Yeah. So the Think Happy community consists primarily of women who just feel so busy, like they're always going, and they're ready to put, a stop to that exhausting cycle.
Mm.
So I can't remember if I talked about this earlier or not. I don't think I did. But there is a podcast, the Think Happy podcast. And then aside from that, Think Happy currently consists of some on-demand workshops, which there's a handful of them. There's one about regaining and reallocating wasted time. There's one about conquering your screen time, similar to what we are just talking about. There's one about building sustainable routines. And then in addition to the on-demand workshops, there's also private one-on-one coaching. And then I'm super excited. In Q1, we're going to be rolling out our first group program, which is going to be a hybrid of private and group coaching, along with just self-paced training videos.
Amazing.
So I'm super excited about that. Gosh, I mean, Think Happy as a whole, we talk a lot about routine building, life organization, goal setting, creating and optimizing time for yourself. So yeah, that's Think Happy in a nutshell.
Love it. So are you going to launch that program towards the end of this year and then it'll start January, February?
Yeah, so I think so baby is due in October. And so I think I'm going to open the doors to start signing up for the group program probably in December.
Great.
And then officially start in January. If that doesn't go according to plan, then we'll open doors to register in January and launch in February.
Yeah.
So really this little guy is
up to the baby.
Yeah, it's up to the baby.
The CEO.
Yes, exactly. The one who runs the show.
I love it.
It's his world. I'm just a vessel for him.
It's gonna be so exciting. I think it's gonna do so well because people are just and the fact that you're doing a hybrid because people are busy and then they can watch the self-paced ones like
Yeah.
10 a.m. when they're having their little snack break, or
Exactly.
mom's feeding babies can have their little earphone in at 2 a.m. Like I used to always listen to podcasts when I was feeding Pay or read a Kindle on the Kindle app on my phone. So
that's what I would do. Kindle.
Yeah. I've just
because I got tired of scrolling Instagram at 2 a.m. I was like, I have to do something else. Yeah.
Like, 4 a.m. and then my one friend was awake. I'm like, why are you awake?
Yeah.
But I just got an actual Kindle, like an actual proper one now. And I'm like, why did I not do this sooner?
Why didn't I do this earlier?
Because also for Pay, I don't want to, when I'm reading on my phone, on my Kindle app, and I only realized this the other day, I don't want her to think I'm on social media.
Yeah.
So now I'm teaching her that my Kindle is my book, and I've shown her the words and I show her that it's a book. So then like when I'm playing with her or she's watching something, I'm reading my book. I'm not reading my phone. So I think that is a very big distinction for her, especially. And I mean, she's just turned 3. She knows she's watching and
she's aware. Yeah.
I've got so much work to do. She keeps saying, I'm like, oh no, I need to stop saying that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just like the Kindle is helping me to show her that I'm like, my phone is not more important than you. So yeah, and it's very light and it is waterproof, so you can read with it in the bath.
I love that. I love that.
So my little
or at the pool.
Yes, and then at the pool, it has like an anti-glare thing, which if you're reading on your phone or your iPad, it has that glare, Yeah.
Yes.
So it's amazing. Just if in case anyone, I wish I got kickbacks, but I don't. But
I know. I was about to say.
That's it. I've got the
Kindle. Sponsored by Kindle. No big deal.
Hi. The Paperwhite 10, and it's only like 8 gig storage, but yeah, it's a game changer. So that's my new self-love thing, is that I will read like at least 5 to 10 pages in the bath. So
I love that. That's awesome.
I see your brain.
That's awesome.
You're like,
Yeah. Sounds like something I should put on my Christmas list.
I think you should. Yes. And it's like so light, like you're just one-handed, and then you can be babying and momming. And
that's great. Yeah, that's great.
So we've been taking up so much of your time, but one thing you wish you could tell your younger self?
Slow down. Just slow down. Yeah. Life. I mean, I feel like I've always been just like 100 miles per hour person. And looking back, I'm like, why did I do that? Like, sorry, there's like something floating. Why did I, like feel the need to do that? And I have a feeling that, like if we're having this conversation 5 years from now, it will be the same thing. Yeah. So I really need to take it to heart. So I actually loved when I saw that you were going to ask me that question. I was like, ooh, what would I tell myself? And then I was like, oh shoot, that's also what I would tell myself now.
Mm,
So
yeah.
that's a really good question.
I think we'll have to check in with each other and be like,
Yes.
so have
Yes.
you kind of tried to slow down a bit? But that's what I think the beauty, and I mean, I haven't really told a lot of people this and they'll hear this eventually, but we are actually moving. I think we've spoken about it. I'm moving to Portugal next year in January. Did I tell you?
No.
Oh, okay. I'll be closer to you, kind of. Yeah. I'll be in the northern hemisphere too.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So we're actually moving. Um, and my whole plan, which is quite interesting that I'm saying this on here, but anyway, my whole plan and my whole vision for my podcast and everything was that from June to December, I'm focusing on growing an overseas audience instead of
I
just
love that.
little here in little South Africa, so that I'm going to be at that side of the world. I have to start thinking bigger, having a bigger mindset, because you tend to
Right.
hear and it's just because of who we are and how our country is, and you just kind of stay small and you don't think bigger, because you are in this space. So
Right.
I'd set that intention, and then it just started happening with, we all meeting in like the podcasting group and so many overseas people. So that's what's happening
Yeah.
now. It's like I'm meeting so many people overseas and growing in that way. And strangely enough, I was looking at my stats because Amazon Music started putting all our podcasts you could put on Amazon, and my American is almost caught up to my South African. It's insane.
What?
I know. And
Look
I
at you.
haven't even been on a lot of American podcasts yet, only about 4. So this is just from being on Amazon, which shows you how flippin' huge Amazon is.
Oh yeah.
So my whole plan was for the rest of this year is like from June to December to focus on growing overseas, and also to focus on more like automated things. So I've been making a lot of downloadable journals, like a gratitude journal, because everyone always asks me about mine. Gratitude. I've done a wellness journal. I've done a calm journal, a meditation. So I've been doing all these online like downloadable products, because I think it's so huge over there, especially in America as well, like these downloadable things. And try and automate all this kind of stuff to free up my time next year when I'm trying to focus on making her okay, and being in a new country. So it's so interesting that it's now happening, and to try and automate things and to make things easier for myself, and to free up the time, so I don't have to be because I'm the same as you, running, so I can slow down as well. So that is my whole plan. So hopefully, I mean,
That is amazing.
but it's strange to focus your last 6 months in a country on growing like internationally, or just growing, like my whole theme is word of mouth, because that's the best advertising, word of mouth, and just putting myself out there more in an international way, so I can slow down more. So that's my plan.
So exciting. Big stuff.
Yeah, so I'll be coming to do your program, how to stay on track with your life.
Yes, help me.
Yeah, please help me, thank you. Love it. Yeah. So I'm also going to take that to heart. I would also tell myself that to slow down. I think we all need to stop rushing through life. So where can everyone find you? Because I know everyone's going to be like, where can we find you now? We need you in our lives.
Oh, well, I'm not very creative when it comes to like different handles and stuff. So everything's pretty much the same. On Instagram, I'm thinkhappy_co. Podcast is the Think Happy Podcast. Website, thinkhappyco.com. So
it's so nice. It's nice so that everyone can find you. It's easy.
Yes. It is nice when people are like, where can we find you? I'm like, well, it's all pretty much the same. So
it's hard when everything's different. So this is so then they must just DM you if they want to do that program. That's free series that you've done. So don't forget to DM her on Instagram and be like, I heard you on Unselfishly Me. Please, can I grab access to the
absolutely.
Amazing. This has been
I would love to do that. Oh, thank you for having me on. This was so fun.
Yeah, thank you for making the time. I know you're busy, and you've allotted this into your schedule. So thank you
Of
so much
course.
for that. And I'll put everything in the show notes, and then everyone can just go and find you, because it'll just be amazing. So thank you for that. And thanks everyone for listening. If you are listening to this, please can you take a screenshot and share it in your stories on Instagram, and then tag both of us so that we can see that you've been listening, because we said we love feedback and we like to see who's listening.
Yes, let us know.
We just want to see some faces instead of just, nothing.
Yeah.
So thank you all for listening, and I will see you next week.